guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be ranting about everyone's favorite childhood movie, Nancy Drew. Now, when I first saw this movie, Do you mind? What do you mean it's not everyone's favorite childhood movie? It's a classic. Okay, 50% on Rotten Tomatoes isn't even that bad. But no, that's not a good argument because YouTube has plenty of movies for free on their channel that are like good. It's not for free. They're paying people to watch. Oh my God, it can't be that bad. I'm not gonna lie to you, it was that bad, which is a shame and also kind of surprising given this all-star cast. I mean, we have Emma Roberts.
Hello, I'm Nancy Drew. It's nice to meet you.
We have this guy.
I had this dream during my nap today where you literally forgot you ever met me and then I turned into a squirrel.
This girl.
I didn't get the memo about it being a return.
And this other guy.
Something just happened in the bathroom, which I am at a loss to explain.
Hey look, Bruce Willis.
Not a nickname, Andy. It's not a nickname.
So the movie starts out by Nancy being held hostage by two very quirky little criminals.
I don't need a shrink.
And she ultimately gets them to agree to turn themselves in by handing one like a brownie or something. I don't know. It was lemon meringue pie.
Fine therapy.
Great.
Basically, they're just setting up that the town that she lives in and solves crime in is like lame. There's not a lot of hardcore criminals. No one's really out to hurt her. It really doesn't hold much threat to her. Now, the roofs of this town, on the other hand, I'm not gonna lie, it took me an embarrassingly long time to figure out what time period we were in because everything is just like so old-fashioned. Like the buildings, their clothes, the cars, like everything feels like it was just a little time capsule from like the 50s or something. And so I spent the first like 20 minutes trying to figure out what time period we were in. Like, look at her dad. He literally looks like an old school detective. Beat for beat, everything he's wearing, his entire look. The only thing that actually clued me in was the fact that everyone was wearing so many layers. And I was like, that's so early 2000s fashion. And then I saw the phones and then it clicked. I was like, oh. I literally had to pause the movie and like go for a walk so that I could process my own stupidity and just like give myself a timeout for not clocking that sooner. Anyways, in this opening scene we meet a bunch of side characters, specifically her love interest Ned.
I wanted to give you this.
Well, your hunch was right on the nose.
And her dad, who's actually not a detective, but a lawyer, and a greedy one at that.
You know, I've always picked cases that help people. This is a little different. If everything goes well, I could start making some real money.
We also meet a whole bunch of other people who we never see again. So, after some random guy comes up and asks Nancy about her dead mom, and Ned hands her her early birthday gift.
I needed a new compass.
In case I'm not with you on your birthday.
I just don't know if I'll get to use it.
Her and her dad are off to California for some big lawyer job her dad has gotten. Now, her dad asked her not to sleuth around while they're in California so that he doesn't have to worry about her safety while he's doing business.
I mean, there was a hostage situation, so I can kind of see his point.
She does agree to do no sleuthing while they're there, and this is supposed to serve as kind of like the main tension, or at least one of the main tensions of the film, where is she gonna listen to her dad? Is she not gonna sleuth, or is she going to sleuth? Spoiler warning, she sleuths, and I need to stop saying the word sleuth. Needless to say, this aspect of the film had about as much tension as a soggy piece of toilet paper. In fact, the entire film lacked distinct like motivations and tensions that typically make a movie exciting, or at least watchable. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Before we can do anything else, we have to meet Barbara of Barbara Realty.
Hi. Thank you so much for not running me over.
Barbara Realties manages the house that is owned by a very, very rich lawyer named Zachary. One in particular is a haunted house where the great actress Dahlia Draycott lived and was murdered. And you'll never guess which one Nancy and her father rent out.
Watch this.
In all fairness, this, Nancy did this on purpose before she promised that she wouldn't do any investigating while in California. She purposely picked a house with a mystery in it so that she could try to solve it.
It's so fun, right, Dad?
No.
Anyway, Barbara gives off very Effie Trinket energy, and with a name that unique, you know she's gonna be a banger character. However, she's never seen again.
Hello.
I needed to prove your whereabouts. Go back to sleep.
As Nancy and her father settle in, they keep hearing strange noises around the house, specifically like footsteps and creaking. So at one point, Nancy calls the like caretaker of the house to see if it's him walking around like in the attic and stuff. And lo and behold, it's not him. He's in his house, which is like outside her window. She can kind of see. Sounds creepy, actually, now that I say it like that. She sees the light turn on. She's like, okay, it's not him. She sprints out of her room and she's looking around, trying to figure out where the footsteps are coming from. And who does she run into but the caretaker?
Someone's in the house. How did you get here so quickly?
If you're accusing me.
Now, I hate to say it, but even though this caretaker looked objectively scary from Nancy's perspective, I could not help but laugh almost every time he had a line because he just delivered them so strangely, and it took me a minute to like figure out why I found it so comical until he said this line.
The year I got out of the service, I went to work at the studio. Oh, right.
That just tickled me pink. I didn't care if he was the murderer. He was hysterical. Back in the day, when I saw this movie when I was a kid, I distinctly remember that this character, the caretaker, was a ghost. Like, I remember it being revealed at the end that he was actually a ghost, which is kind of in line with all these like we believe in ghosts, we don't believe in ghosts mystery movies and shows where it's like, oh, ghosts aren't real, let's find a logical explanation, and then ghosts are real, but like that doesn't change the character's perspective on anything. They're just like, oh, guess ghosts are real. So I was fully expecting at the end of this movie that this man reveals he's a ghost. And I was further encouraged when he said this.
Do you believe in ghosts, Mr. Lushing?
I am a ghost.
So I went through this whole movie thinking that he was a ghost and that she was going to figure that out by the end of the movie. And like, that's how he was getting around the house so fast. But no, that ended up not being the case. It turns out not only is he just a regular human being, he's also depressed.
You just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine.
The next day, Nancy goes to school and excels at absolutely every class she happens to be in, which gets on the nerves of just about everyone, including the principal.
Finally, I urge you to offer a course in CPR. I'm certified, and I have found great peace of mind knowing I may save a life someday.
This is where we are officially introduced to the two bullies.
Yeah, hi, I think the principal wants to yell at me or something.
And Corky.
Hey, baby, how you doing?
A creepy, weirdo 12-year-old whose dad had to pull a few strings so he could skip a few grades because he wasn't getting enough action in junior high. Right. Now, these two bullies are instantly aggro on Nancy, and with the help of Corky, they try to pull off this ridiculous prank to humble her. Now, I thought Nancy was gonna call complete BS on this prank immediately because Corky, bully number one, Trina's brother, starts like pretending to choke and like falls on the ground. Was like, oh.
Does anyone know CPR? Does anyone know CPR?
And I thought Nancy was gonna go, actually, you don't use CPR on someone who's choking. You use the Heimlich maneuver. If you use CPR on someone who's choking, you probably kill them.
I do. I know CPR. Excuse me.
She walks over to him and does like the gentlest, slowest CPR you've ever seen someone attempt. And like still lays there pretending like he's dead, which he's obviously not. I'm sure he's still breathing. I'm sure we can find a pulse. So like Nancy failed the two things you're supposed to check before you start doing CPR. Luckily for Corky and his ribs, she's really bad at doing CPR. So before she can even like give him a rescue breath, he breaks and he's laughing and no ribs are broken and no one's harmed. I mean, Nancy's a little embarrassed, but like she'll get over it.
You were supposed to kiss her. Lip lock. That was the plan.
The next day, Corky stops by Nancy's house to apologize for the prank. Don't ask me how he knows where she lives. And they become friends. For some reason.
Do you know there's a mystery to this house?
I know.
Together, they set off to solve the murder of Dahlia Draycott. I actually don't know if it's Dahlia or Delia or Dahlia. It doesn't matter. She's not real.
At the height of her fame, she disappeared for 5 months. And when she came back, she threw a giant party. She never went downstairs to greet her guests. She was found floating in the pool, dead.
Through some contextual clues, Nancy thinks that Dahlia might have been pregnant when she like disappeared for those 3 months, then came back and had like a secret kid. And so she takes off with this theory, and her first stop is a movie set because she needs someone who knows clothes to tell her what this symbol on a robe that Dahlia was wearing.
You look 50s. Go to set.
I was just wondering if they... Now!
Because she's dressed old-fashioned, she gets shooed onto a set because they just happen to be shooting a period piece. And this is where we meet Bruce Willis, who is just here for a cameo.
Nancy, would you consider, directing this film?
I got really excited because I was like, oh, this would be so fun if we just had a little like side quest where she just directs a movie for some reason. But no, it like smash cuts into her not doing that. So
It's not an X. They're palm trees. What does that mean?
now that she knows that the X was actually palm trees, she figures out that it was to a resort. She goes to the resort to see if they can tell her when and who has stayed with them, and they say no, their records are private. So then she goes to the hospital and she goes up to a clerk and she's like, hey, like, can you tell me what babies were born between this week and this week? And he's like, no, our records are sealed. So she proceeds to bribe him with a blondie, the dessert, not like a person, and it works.
The doctor's files aren't sealed. This might help.
So then she goes over to this pediatrician who for some reason has records that aren't sealed, and she's able to look over this girl's shoulder and illegally scribble down 3 names of 3 girls that were put up for adoption within this certain time span.
Nice try, Squirt. Nice try.
And then she proceeds to visit every single person with those names and just straight up ask them if they were adopted. And this works. Like, don't even get me started on the logistics of finding someone who still lives in the area and then like writing down all of their addresses and like stalking them, waiting for them to come home so she can ask if they were adopted. However, she does find one that was adopted and just happens to be the spitting image of Dahlia Draycott. Literally.
You're who I'm looking for.
Kind of creepy.
Delia may have made a provision for you. If we can prove that you're her daughter, there may be some money.
Now this is where things start to go wrong because a mysterious vehicle rolls up behind Nancy and tries to run her over. Now I would personally like to think that they were trying to run over Quirky, but she also starts receiving threatening phone calls. Like, people keep calling her being like, stop investigating this, which is kind of funny. They don't know that she's Nancy Drew. All they know is that like some 14-year-old girl is running around being like, I want to solve the case. And so the fact that they're taking this seriously at all is actually kind of funny, but they are. And I guess they should be because she does end up solving it. Spoilers. And regardless, Nancy is completely unbothered by these threats. She does not care and instead decides that she needs to find Dahlia's lost will. Now she knows there's a will because at the beginning of the movie she found this random note that said that she had updated her will. So now she has to try to find it. But the problem is she has no clue where this will could be.
The will is in the Chinese box.
Huh. So the next day, Nancy's dad surprises her with an early birthday gift.
My roadster!
Happy almost your birthday.
I've missed this car so much. And you, I've missed the car and you.
You can see why they like each other. Now, this is where it starts to get entertaining because Ned immediately hates Corgi, and like valid because he's a disgusting weirdo little 12-year-old boy who's just hanging around Nancy. But what's even funnier to me is the fact that Ned actually is like jealous of this weirdo 12-year-old creep. Like, he's literally 12. He's literally 12. I think you're safe. Unless Nancy's also a creepo weirdo, you're literally safe. And even more embarrassing is the fact that they go to this Chinese restaurant and Nancy and Corgi order milk.
I'll have a glass of milk, please. Refreshingly wholesome. I'll have the exact same thing.
Can I get a iced latte?
No latte in Chinese restaurants, silly.
No latte in a Chinese restaurant.
Don't talk to me, okay?
Ned might be like the worst love interest ever, but I have to hand it to him. He can be funny. This is where worlds start to converge because the mean girls spot them at the Chinese restaurant waiting for their milk.
Here we are, and here you are. Hi, what's your name?
Ned?
You're not sure?
Nancy uses this opportunity to slip away into a Chinese box store where they sell just a bunch of Chinese boxes.
What kind of box?
Chinese?
The gang catches up with her and they're like, what are you doing in this weird store? And she's like, we need to find a will. Everyone look in these boxes. So they all start just rummaging through all the boxes. The poor shop owner's like gonna have a heart attack. He's so stressed about all his inventory. And like, I don't know what they expect to find, because if I'm the shop owner, I've already looked in all these boxes to make sure they're empty, to make sure that the owners didn't leave anything in them, to make sure there's nothing like weird in them, you know, like I'm checking that. But apparently in this world, he doesn't check them. He just accepts boxes and sells them to people, because we get to the end of them rummaging through all the boxes, finding them all to be empty. And then he's like, actually, there's one more box. Come check out this one. And she opens it and there's nothing in it, because why would there be? Needless to say, it was a complete waste of time, but they do end up finding a bomb in Nancy's car. So much chemistry. They spot the car that almost ran her over before, and they assume they're the ones who put the bomb in the car. So her, Quirky, and Ned all hop in the car and speed after them. Well, and by speed, I mean like they drive the speed limit and follow all the rules of the road and don't do anything ridiculous or crazy that would help them catch the guys. And ultimately just give up.
What's this?
Normal stuff. Normal teenage stuff.
After a brief comical interlude, the gang finds out that there's secret passages in the house, and that's how the people who keep making noises in the night are getting around. And even though Nancy's life has just been threatened for like the 4th time, she decides to climb down into these creepy, dark, dank passageways by herself in penny loafers.
I found a tunnel and I'm going in. If I'm not back in 10 minutes, something bad's happened.
I don't think that was a joke.
Don't worry, nothing happens. That would be too much to ask. The next day is Nancy's birthday, and so she decides to throw a rager of a birthday party in which she invites the entire school, and then has the audacity to be flabbergasted when literally the entire school shows up.
Hi. Oh, you look lovely.
Including Trisha and her friend, who like almost dies. But don't worry, Nancy's CPR certified. During this party, she also tests to see if like the caretaker guy knows about the secret tunnels, which like obviously he does, but she wants to know for sure. So she like opens it halfway and then she calls him being like, hey, I need you over at the house real quick, to see if like he takes the tunnels or not, which is pretty smart, because like if you're gonna try to prove that a creepy man knows about the creepy tunnels in your creepy haunted house, you might as well do it when there's like a whole bunch of people around, so that, you know, you can't get kidnapped or murdered or something. But it's also not smart because she does it in a room that has no one else in it, and like no one from the school knows who she is except like Ned, and Ned's not in the room with her, so he could totally just kidnap and murder her and no one would know. He doesn't do that. He just shows up and he's like, I know about the tunnels, and she's like, okay. And then we go back to saving Trisha's friend's life. And this is kind of like Trisha's redemption arc. She's like, oh, you saved my friend's life and you threw a cool party, so I guess like I like you now, or I guess we're cool. And also I like your friend Ned, and also your clothes are ugly, so let's go bring you into the 21st century, why don't we?
Obviously, someone here needs a little help with their look.
But you have some nice pieces, they're just not really working together.
And I was so excited when she did this, because if there's one thing I love even more than a redemption arc, it's a shopping montage. So you can imagine my disappointment when we didn't get either. Trisha has like this half redemption arc where she's like, oh, like you're chill, I guess, but then we never see her again, really. We see her once, and so I feel like that doesn't really count as a redemption arc, because she just disappeared. If she had just done that without the redemption arc, it would have been the same thing. So not only that, but while we're still reeling from just that, Ned leaves. He's just gone. He goes back home.
Can you tell when a girl looks at you and is thinking how much she likes you and wondering if you like her, but thinking how important it is for you to say how you feel before she says anything more about how she feels about you or anyone else that you might be jealous of, because she's already saying how she feels in her own way?
Can you repeat the question?
And now all we have is Nancy and Corgi. Oh, look.
Jane, are you all right?
Child Protective Services, they
They took her.
Don't ask me how she knows where Nancy lives. So Jane comes to Nancy because CPS has taken her little girl and she is desperate to get her back. Not only that, we learn that a big bad man knocked on her door and threatened her after Nancy visited the first time. So naturally, Nancy asks what the man looks like so that she can maybe try to identify him in the future.
He was big. Dark hair. Scary.
Oh, right.
And he had one pale blue eye and one very, very dark.
Dead giveaway. My bad. So the two of them sit down to watch a movie for the night and they pick a Delia Draycott movie.
Delia used a clue from one of her own movies. Now all I have to do is make the dragon bow.
Which, like, duh. So she goes to the store and the store owner is very kind. He lets her in. She, like, opens the secret compartment.
It's the will.
If you want it, you can have it.
Thanks. While she's, like, looking through everything, like, oh my god, I was right. Kidnapped. She wakes up in like this weird old movie theater. Isn't really phased. She's just like, okay, well, I mean, I gotta get out. So she like opens the window and starts walking around these like rafters that are like all through the theater. And she spots the will down below. And so she's like, oh my god, I have to get that. So she stealthily creeps all the way over there and she gets a paperclip and she gets a really long piece of string and she like connects them and she starts slowly lowering it down, which I have beef with. I have beef with this scene because if there's one thing I do remember from this movie, it's that scene right there. It's her connecting that little paper clip to that piece of string and grabbing something with it and using it to pull it out. I've tried this. I've tried this so many times because in the back of my head, I'm like, oh, I remember like someone did this. And so let me try. And it never works. It has not once worked. I don't know if she just had like a super paper clip or if I have like really cheap paper clips, but the paper clips just bend and then they don't pick anything up. So I don't believe that her little paper clip and her little piece of string picked up that really heavy clipboard and didn't just like clatter to the ground. Like, I don't believe you. Also, it was very kind of the bad guys to like put the will on a clipboard so that she could clip it with her paper clip and her string and pull it up. That was fantastic of them, like very generous. The more realistic thing to be mad about in this scene is the fact that they definitely would have saw her do this. Like they're right there. They're not looking in her direction, but like even if you're here, you can still see. You have peripheral vision. You can see that there is there's a clipboard being dragged out by a string into the heavens. And they don't, I guess. They're just like really locked into this TV show they're watching.
Just for making chocolate pasta.
Or maybe like their evil boss doesn't give them a good vision plan or something. They run after her. She sprints out the back door. She manages to make it all the way to her car and like start to drive away. But as we've established, she doesn't like going over the speed limit or not following the rules of the road. So they catch up instantly and gently ram into her. They didn't even leave a dent. They didn't scratch the paint. That's how gentle it was. But they do end up managing to spin her out. And so she like slams into this other car. And then they just like leave. They're just like, well, we spun her out. Time to go home.
Hey, Dad.
Are you okay? What happened?
I don't know if she had any injuries or if she just like decided to do some like preemptive care. But her dad comes in, he's like, oh my god, are you all right? And she's like, Dad, I've been sleuthing. And he's like, yeah, I figured since you're in the hospital.
Your father and I were going over some business when we heard.
I hope you're all right.
And this is where we re-meet Zachary. If you don't remember, Zachary is like the lawyer and owner of the Draycott estate. We also met him earlier in the film, but I skipped over that because like it didn't matter.
You know, I couldn't help but overhear before about the mystery. Did you ever find the will?
Zachary offers to take them home, so they all drive back in his limo. And as soon as they're in the car, he's like, so, Nancy, that, will, where is it?
His firm stands to lose more than a little income if the money from the will really does go to Jane.
And it just cuts to the shot of Zachary just staring at her, being like, where's the will?
Where is the will?
So Nancy does what any 16-year-old would do in her situation and hurls herself out the car. They must have been close to the house they were staying at, because she immediately runs to a neighboring house that has like a secret tunnel that leads back into their house, and she climbs inside and she starts taking off.
Where's the will?
Unlike the villains from our hometown, we get the distinct feeling that he would totally be okay with just killing her. And this is confirmed when she asks if he killed Dahlia, and he just confesses.
I'm just really curious. Why did you kill Delia?
After she gave up the baby, he was gonna quit the business and run off with that caretaker. Got mad, I reacted violently. I felt kind of bad about it for a while, but I'm okay with it now.
Not gonna lie, that was kind of badass. A fight ensues. Nancy kicks him in the balls and takes off, but ultimately she ends up getting captured again. And one of the bad guys pulls out a gun to like finish her off.
If you shoot me, it'll leave all sorts of evidence. Very messy. Strangulation leaves a traceable handprint.
Which is kind of funny because like Zachary owns the house. So like if he murders Nancy and her father, they're new in town. Who would really even bat an eye? No one back home would know until it'd been months since they heard from them, and then to be like, oh, maybe we should like check on them or something. And then what? Like Ned's gonna find her decomposing corpse somewhere and solve the mystery of who killed her? No, that's not gonna happen. Ned couldn't even figure out that she didn't like the 12-year-old. So like, what hope do we have here? So as Nancy's trying to stall her would-be murderers, there's a thwunk and Zachary goes down.
Put the gun down.
Who else but the creepy caretaker swoops in to save the day, takes the gun, and aims it at the other two bad guys who, like, I guess don't have guns and just run away in fear of the old creepy man. Which, like, same. Nancy thanks him, and she also informs him that he is Jane's father.
There's something you should know. It's about Jane. She's your daughter.
Valid reaction.
Oh my God.
The police show up and the fathers and daughters get to reunite, and Nancy's bully slash friends show up with Quirky, and it's just pure chaos.
It was locked in the trunk. What happened? Are you okay?
It cuts to where they're back home, where we find out that Jane has started a home for single mothers. She also has her daughter back, so that's great. We don't end up getting any like follow-up with the bullies or Corgi or anything like that, so I assume they're doing well. We also get a little epilogue with Ned, and the two of them end up confessing their love for each other. Sort of.
You're only happy when there's trouble. But that's who you are, and it's all right with me.
Just like an angel of the...
Nancy, phone call.
Another case.
And everyone that mattered lived happily ever after. I'm not gonna lie, that 50% on Rotten Tomatoes is generous. It should definitely be closer to like 30%. It's not a good movie. It's really boring, honestly. Like, it's just very like sterile and methodical. There's not really any connective tissue. It's just, well, she has to visit this place to get this information. She has to visit that place to get that information. And then we see her visit that place and visit this place and visit the next place. And that's the whole movie. We don't really get to learn about her. We really don't dive deep into her character or anyone else's character. The characters we do meet, we barely learn anything about before we just completely forget about them. Like, there was just really no like heart or soul or spirit in the film. It was just, yeah, this is Nancy Drew, and she's gonna solve a case, and then she does. And in Emma Roberts' defense, she did a really good job, and I think that most of the other actors also like did a good job. Like, they were trying. It really felt like they were trying to make this like serious movie. It's just like, it wasn't a serious movie, not because it was like chock full of like hilarious jokes, but just because it was so bland and ridiculous that like it's just really hard to take seriously. But you know what you should take seriously? The like and subscribe button below. I'm trying to get to 100 subscribers by the end of the year. So if you enjoyed this video, consider hitting the like and subscribe button below. It's completely free, but it helps me out a ton. Thank you guys for watching. I will see you guys next time. Bye. Bye. Mwah. Mwah. Be gone.